welcome back to another episode of the Horny Football Podcast. Joining me tonight, we have Oisín and we have Johnny. Lads, international break is over with now until March. Premier League action back underway, thank God. So looking forward to match week 14. We're going to start at Emirates, Arsenal hosting Wolves. A tough game for VAR to decide who they're going to fuck over. But anyway, starting with Arsenal, the 1-0 away to Brentford last week. A really bad, boring out game it was. Brentford have this philosophy of playing with a back eight almost. They're very compact and hard to break down. And, they took a Kai Havertz 89-minute winner for Arsenal to get the 3 points. Now, Arsenal were incredibly lucky. They were incredibly lucky. Ramsdale had a couple of howlers there. And only for Declan Rice sparing his blushes. And Zinchenko as well, the second clearance off the line. It could have been a pretty terrible game for Arsenal. But Oisín, Arsenal dug in, won dirty. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, it's their story on repeat for the last 2 years, isn't it? Even when they're playing bad, they still get a result. I think that was one of the best games Zinchenko's had under an Arsenal jersey that I remember seeing. Not to say that I watched too many Arsenal games, of course, but some of the few I've seen, he was well. I think touching on Ramsdale there, I think you're right. He was very fortunate there. He didn't do his chances of cementing down a number one spot any favours in that game.
Yeah.
But look, again, they got the results, and you can only beat who's in front of you, and Arsenal are doing that, so that's all they can ask for, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Brentford has become a really tough place for a lot of teams. For Arsenal to go and keep a clean sheet, let alone get the win as well. It does speak to. Arsenal haven't been as dynamic in front of goal as compared to last season. They were firing goals super early. They were, then they were in control of games. But this year, especially, they're having to break down teams a lot more so than last season. Teams are apart from your Man Cities and your Liverpools and maybe United as well. Those big teams kind of want to go out and play football, but a lot of smaller teams go out and try and stop Arsenal from playing, and they do this with with their the whole team essentially, bar one or two behind the ball in the box. Johnny, for Brentford now, they're a team, especially at home, they can't beat anyone on their day, and I think maybe Thomas Frank just maybe set up the wrong way, and instead of trying to play football, he tried to stop Arsenal playing football.
So with Brentford, you would really associate them with being very dynamic, get the ball forward as fast as possible, up and down the field as fast as possible. This season they've kind of been so in and out of form and up and down. It's kind of hard to know where you place them. I'm not sure. At times you think, they look outstanding, and other times you think, they're very, very average. This is a game at the weekend that was very tricky for Arsenal, but with Brentford, it's hard to know. But there you have Ivan Toney coming back now in the next month or so. What sort of player is he going to be when he comes back? We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. He's a huge loss. There is talk of him maybe leaving Brentford. I don't know if he'll actually come back and play for Brentford, but
big money if he goes. So yeah,
even I think Arsenal were linked. Arsenal, I think, were the heaviest team linked with Ivan Toney. So I don't know. I think he would benefit Arsenal quite a lot. But yeah, just Brentford. From what I noticed, anyways, they they defended with. 8 men behind the ball, and it was just Mbeumo and Wissa. Then mostly Mbeumo, just he was the counter-attacking option. He was just spray the ball up, let him run after it. And in fairness, it almost worked once or twice, but they lacked. I think Ivan Toney's. He's a real man. He can, he's a big guy. He can hold up the ball really well. He can play in others. You know what I mean? He's a big, strong, powerful man. And
with that, it's their accuracy. That long ball, it's not just firing it. They're very accurate with it. And a lot of times we kind of bemoan we're used to anyway, that Route 1 football, but the accuracy they play with normally is on their day when they're very, very accurate with that sort of ball, that over the top, that diagonal over the top ball, are very, very accurate. That's they've lost that a bit this season. That doesn't make it any easier to deal with, but you see that at the weekend, 1 or 2, when they get it right, they can cause you serious troubles. They just haven't been able, whatever reason. Is it they're missing someone a bit further back down the field? I understand that Target and Toney isn't there, but the quality of ball going forward isn't there either. Maybe the quality of run isn't being met.
Yeah. Moving on to Wolves, we've seen all the kind of controversy surrounding their 3-2 loss away to Fulham on Monday. The penalties that were given for Fulham, dubious enough. Gary O'Neill has been critical of VAR quite a lot recently, and in fairness, I think Wolves this season, especially,
it's justified. Yeah,
more so than anyone else. And yeah, like the penalties that were conceded by Wolves were the second one maybe not so much, but the first one definitely.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think the second goal, it is hard to discount that as penalty. He does go through the player, but the first one, like on initial seeing of it, you do think, oh, you know, that's a penalty. He doesn't get the ball, but when you see it from the angle, that looks like it's the referee's view as well. You can clearly see that he gets the ball first, regardless if he catches the player or not. Afterwards, he does get the ball. The ball slightly moves a different direction as such, but from another angle, from behind the Fulham player, you can see that from behind Kearney, you can see that Semida's foot doesn't actually make a strong connection to Kearney's foot. So that in itself, like, you know, should be like, I don't know what VAR were doing, because I feel like if that's a Man City or maybe any of the big clubs, they're getting away with that. As well, on top of that too, the penalty that Wolves got, I think he's also justified to be angry at the fact that Tim Ream didn't get a second yellow. Like, he clearly takes out Kwang. So I think, and then Gary Neal come out as well and said that the referee said to him that the first goal the first penalty shouldn't have been given. So, like, geez, if that is true, if Gary Neal tells the truth, like, that's mad, and that a referee, an in-game referee, has come out and said that to him, to say, look, I don't think that first penalty should have stood. Like, sure. It's mad. Look, we talk about it every week. Like, it's dull now at this stage, but you got to feel, look, because Wolves were playing well, and I don't think they deserved to lose that game. No, they really didn't. They were great off the ball. Their progressional style of play, especially in the first half, the first 20 minutes, was really, really clean. Cunha's goal was really well worked. That was definitely that was a training ground goal for sure.
No, for sure. Yeah.
But I'm really, really happy for Gary Neal, but I'm disappointed that he's suffering like this. He has been. He's not the only one, but he is suffering with these VAR decisions this season. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely right. Move on, predictions then for Arsenal versus Wolves. Johnny, start with you.
2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 Arsenal. Oisín?
I think, I think it'll be 2-1. 2-1 Arsenal. Yeah, I think definitely will score for sure.
I don't know. I think if Arsenal can quiet down Hwang, because you know Pedro Neto's out for a while, and they've been the two top targets this season. I think Arsenal maybe 3-0. I think might run away with it. I think it'll be a tough open.
If you get an early goal, I think you will. I think you need to cement to go. You need to be 1-0 up in the first 15 minutes. If you don't break the Wolves backline by the first 15-20 minutes, that'll be telling of the game.
Who starts keeper for you at the weekend?
That's definitely Raya.
Raya starts 100%.
Definitely Raya starts.
That won't play.
Not after Ramsdale's performance the last day. Like, he didn't do anything.
Raya, and I don't know. I'd be hard to see Ramsdale getting back into under
again. Do you think that's him? Do you think that's
him?
No,
I think that's it. I think so.
Return leg against Brentford, maybe, but that'll be the only one. But yeah, okay. Speaking of Brentford, moving on. Brentford are going to be at home to Luton Town. Obviously, we just touched on Brentford there. So we'll go on to Luton. Luton, a good win against Crystal Palace, their first Premier League win at Kenilworth Road. This has been like a very kind of one-sided head-to-head game. Brentford have won quite a lot of games against Luton Town. Only 4 years ago, they won 7-0 against Luton in the Championship. But yeah, Luton would have taken a lot of confidence from that game against Crystal Palace. And, you know, they went 1-0 up and they conceded almost immediately. I think they showed a lot of character to kind of not, you know, Crystal Palace aren't the most prolific team in the Premier League. I think Luton Town, you know, they didn't try and hold on for a draw. They still went out and tried to get a win. And they got what they deserve. You know, they got the 3 points. They take a lot of confidence from this. We see, you know, Brentford now have lost 2 games in a row. But like we said, Brentford at home are a very, very tough team for anyone. So, Oisín, you can take that one.
Yeah, I think you look happy. I still think they'll go down, but, you know, happy for them at the same time. They think it's just mad when you see that Palace team that United lost to them only a few months ago. But Luton, look, they had a good game. They had a good second half of the game, but by no means are they any world beaters. Palace were very poor. They did well. Elise's goal, you know, 2 minutes after they scored. an old United Academy player, Menji scoring, but then to concede after 2 minutes, that is Luton's game. So look, they did well against Liverpool not too long ago as well. I understand that, 2 good results, but Brentford, yeah, like it's a tough ground to go to. Brentford, it's not the Brentford aren't Arsenal. Or Luton aren't Arsenal. They're not Man City. They're not these strong powerful teams that can overpower Brentford. So Luton, I think they'll struggle. If they need anything from this game, they need to really it needs to be a 1-0 win. It needs to be scrappy. They need to hold off Wissa and Mbeumo big time, because if they don't hold those two for full 90 minutes, like Brentford will find a way in. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Anything to add with that, Johnny?
No, yeah, just going off the back of what she said. Brentford are a very powerful team when they get going, and I just think if they get the tails up, I don't see Luton stop them.
Yeah, absolutely. So predictions. I'll start with myself today. For this one, I think, probably Brentford to have too much for Luton. I think they'll probably could be a 4-0. I think 4-0 Brentford. Oisín?
Yeah, I was going to go to 3-0. I think Brentford know that they need to get a result. This is, off the back of two losses, as you said, they need to get a result. And I'd feel sorry for Luton now, because Brentford will be gunning for blood. Yeah,
absolutely. Johnny?
Yeah, I go 3-0 Brentford.
And then a big battle down in the basement of the Premier League. We have Burnley versus Sheffield United. Promises to be a Goliath battle there. I mean, both teams are kind of bad at each other. I would say Sheffield are the better of the two right now. I think they have 4 points in the last 3 games, and Burnley haven't won a game since October 3rd. It's not that even they haven't won; they've lost every single game since October 3rd, where they bet Luton. Both teams really need something here. I don't think a point is good enough for either team. Johnny, go at you. Yeah, a point is not good for either team. Both to win this game.
2 very, very poor teams. 2 of the worst teams we've probably ever seen in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So far, yeah.
So far, yeah, of course, and it's very early in the season yet. But, points not good enough. And like we know, we've spoken before, 30 points will probably keep you up this season, if not 27. And I don't know how these teams get there.
Yeah.
It's a huge game. Like you said, a draw isn't good enough for either team. A win, you need a win. Burnley have shown me very little this season, even though you could say Sheffield have been on the receiving end of some big hammerings. If you had to compare the two, I would say Sheffield, for me, have been a better team so far. I know there's fuck all between them, or very little between them, but 2 very poor teams. It could be an absolute shootout. It could be a great game.
Yeah, we touched on last week for Sheffield United, they were home to Bournemouth, a game that they probably might have earmarked as one that they could win. They went on to lose 3-1. Taking nothing away from Bournemouth, they've actually they put back-to-back wins together, and they moved up. They're 7 points ahead of a relegation now. But yeah, Sheffield, they're kind of they won, and then they won a game, drew a game, and then they went at home against a team they should beat and lose 3-1. It'll kind of knock their confidence back quite a bit. They'll, and like I said, Burnley haven't won in almost 2 months. So I don't know, Oisín, for Burnley now, especially, how do they get results? Are they happy with a draw? I know we said both teams need to win, but Burnley just haven't even got a point in the last almost 2 months.
Do you know, I'd say if Vincent Kompany, if you ask that question to Vincent Kompany, he'd say absolutely not. We want the 3 points. I can't, in the back of his mind, he'd take a point. And him and his assistant manager, Craig Bellamy, I was listening to him on the overlap there not too long ago, and Gary Neville mentioned to him saying, are you going to change anything? And Craig Bellamy says, no, why would we change anything? We have to keep on. And in my head, you need to change something, because whatever you're doing clearly isn't working. Kompany came out there just before the game, the weekend, and he said he thought the Premier League would be harder. How dumb, you know what I mean?
It's just so stuck up his own arse or something, isn't it?
How dumb are you to be that ignorant, to say be bottom of the league, to say that I thought it'd be harder? I think Sheffield United will be aggrieved by a point, but I don't think Burnley will be. I think they'll take anything at this stage. But I agree with Johnny. I think not by much now, but I think Sheffield United have a little bit more to them. I just think they're organised a little bit better. They're used to the Premier League, maybe because they're not too long down. I know Burnley were here 4 years ago, whatever it may be. 3 years ago. Sheffield United jumped straight back up, but they just look a bit more like a Premier League team. Burnley don't look anything off a Championship team and a mid-table Championship team. Like it's hard to see where this, this history-making Burnley team of last year went to, because this ain't them.
No, absolutely not. And you're dead right. Like something needs to change for them, but I don't know if it's a managerial thing that needs to change or.
Well, if he's not going to, it has to be. He have to go, won't he? If you look at, if you compare the two managers, we say, and you look at, like, I understand Company does have this thing. He wants to play a certain ball, but I remember Allardyce said it in an interview. It's like, managers to get the sack trying to play proper football. Do you want to stay in the league? Do you want to play ball? Like, which is it?
That's agreed. And do you know what? It's like and it's so weird for me to say this because we all grew up on it, but his formation is a 4-4-2, with one of them dropping deep and the other playing as a number 10 some parts, but predominantly it's a 4-4-2. That formation is outdated.
Yeah, no,
it's and this tend to stick to that formation for predominantly the game. They play overlapping the wing backs to their right and left midfielders, but they're too easy to play against. Like teams are used to that.
Yeah.
They do that in training, so they're easy to play against. They're easy to defend against. They don't do any, and they don't crowd very well, which I was very surprised about. That Pep Guardiola's disciple can't play progressive
information together.
But they're not even physical or anything.
They can't close down like as a group, as a unit. It's one, maybe two at a time. There's not 3 or 4 running in unison trying to alleviate space or attack the opposition player. They kind of just like, it's 1 or 2 and then like another will run out the way, and it's mad. It's mad to look at, but look. Not to give a shite about them, but they need to change something.
They need against West Ham there, they lost 2-1. They were leading for a large majority of that game until it was like what the 87 minutes.
Yeah, but they were very lucky to be leading that game.
And then they got it. Souček got the winner. Yeah, at home, we've always associated Burnley at home to be like this dominant team, but I don't know. Company has tried to. I don't know, like the football he wants to play, it just kind of takes away from that. Like, and if you're like, if you're a team like Burnley with no wins in 2 months and you're 1-0 up and it's coming to 85th minute, like you get fucking everyone behind the ball.
Agreed,
100%.
Park the bus. Like if you come out with a draw, not the end of the world. Well, to go on and lose the game.
Yeah, it was a funny one because exactly as you said that, like it was midway to the second half when exactly you said they should have been kind of playing deep, defending like a high or low line really if you want to defend deep, but they attacked. They went for a lot more at the end, which of course in some aspects is admirable, but in doing so, all they did was build up their shot statistics and their XP, whatever it may be, but they left themselves wide open in the midfield and the back by doing so. They should have, like when it came to the 65th minute, they should have just dropped deep, took off a few forwards players, bring in a few defending players, and just fucking park the bus.
But you're right though in what you say. Like the game is very, maybe we're going off a bit of a tangent, stat orientated now. Your XP, your stuff like that makes such a people care so much about that now.
Yeah, but the
big stat that matters is that Burnley are
really irrelevant.
Because their XP wasn't that high after the first half. I remember
XG, isn't it?
XP. I was saying XG. Yeah, it's like I think it's 1.3 or something by the end of the game. But like in the first half, it was 1.7, and West Ham's was 1.8. So like. So that's what I mean. You're going by the last after 60 minutes instead of just, dropping deep. Like they were bombing forward. So looking at the statistics of the game is actually kind of clouding over the actual reality of the game. You know what I mean? It doesn't. So look.
Look,
it is what it is, man.
Fuck them. Yeah. Look. Predictions for this game, Johnny.
2-1 Sheffield.
Sheffield. Oisin.
I was about to ask who's home, but I honestly don't think it fucking matters.
Leader.
No, I think 1-0 Sheffield United. Cameron Archer.
I think a 2-1 Sheffield, and I think Company gets the boot. Now, something that a lot of people were talking about this next game. So, it'll be Forest versus Everton. A lot of people are talking about obviously the Everton's 10-point deduction. which brings them. It came at a bad time because they were on such a good run of form. They had moved up the table and now they're back down to second bottom on 4 points. Like, you know, we talked about in the group chat that you know, obviously whatever's happening with City, you know, and they'll get their day in court, I believe. But like 10 points is a bit ridiculous for one charge. I don't want to get too carried away with this now, but like, you know, it's a bit much.
Look, they broke the rules at the end of the day, and I understand 10 points is a lot. Premier League wanted 12. So
yeah,
and it'll probably come back down again after the
appeal.
After the appeal. So they will come back down again. However, like I know, and they worked with the Premier League over it. You broke the rules. That's the game you're in. Unfortunately, that's how it is. And surely this is just to set precedent for City.
That's what I think it is.
For Chelsea, it has to be.
Well, and
Well, I agree with Johnny. Like, regardless of how big the fine is, whether it's 1 point or 10, they broke the rules on the story. And now, in fairness, they've admitted they have, and I think the biggest issue with everyone is that they've said, and they've openly said, they're working with the Premier League. We know we broke the rules. They are thought the 10 points is excessive. Look, I think it is too. I think 6 would have been fair. I think 2 games is fine.
Probably will end up as that.
Yeah. Probably will end, exactly.
Yeah,
but I think the Premier League have now set their tone of motion that now they have to come down hard on Man City. If Man City get charged for a third of what they were accused of being, it's absolute immediate relegation. If you're going on the basis of one charge, 10-point reduction. Do you wanted 12? You got 10. It could be potentially 6. You wanted 12.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what you wanted. So when Man City comes around, you need to show courage and your conviction, and you need to do what's right. Should they be found guilty for any charge?
Yeah.
But that time will tend. And look, Sean Dyche is the right man for the job. He has to play in a good way of football. There were most of their good players back. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I still think he's overrated, but he's a key player for them. So they'll definitely stay up. They're, as you said,
they're lucky it happened this season.
But the thing is,
they are lucky to happen.
They're now with Bournemouth winning as well. Like Everton are back on 4 points. They're 8 points from safety. You know, like that's a lot of ground to make up. Like, you know, for team, like obviously we were saying like Everton weren't in a good run of form, and you know there was all this talk about when the game against Man United. They're like, oh, you know, it's galvanised. This one will be stronger, and then they get whacked 3-0. You know, United haven't been in the best of form. Like, take nothing away from Man United, they played very, very well. But you know, Man United didn't play. They haven't been playing like, you know, super fantastic in recent games. We've seen how tough everything can be at home. And yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, Garnacho
just kind of roll over.
Garnacho's worldly after 3 minutes maybe deflates the players a little bit. But you know, they created some chances, Everton.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, most certainly did.
Like, in fairness to Onana, Ocean, you want to talk about Onana real quick?
Look, we'll do it after.
Like, in fairness, we gave him a lot of shit.
Absolutely.
Conceding, yes, but yeah, you have to give him his dues. Like, he has been.
Man.
I've been saying it recently in podcasts. Like, he's making some outstanding saves, and he still lost games. But if it wasn't for him, it could be, you know, bigger scoreline.
100%, and like as you said, we all give him shit, but it was justified because he was playing shit. He gave away, he gave away more errors leading to goals in the Champions League, but he was still not making the saves he should have made in the Premier League the first few games. So he wasn't the Onana that we saw in the Champions League final. He wasn't. Yeah. But I think the turning point was the penalty save in the Champions League against 100%. Copenhagen. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, he had been playing decent in the 2 games prior to that, but it was that save. But he's been making some outstanding saves. His passing is better.
His confidence kind of came back after that.
Confidence. So he has. And look, of course, you have to go by the defender in front of you. It's not all about the keeper that keeps the clean sheets. No, absolutely. But nonetheless, he's been playing well. He made some cracking saves in that game. He had made some cracking saves in the Champions League before the international break as well. So I hope this is a turning point for him. He looks to be doing okay. He's not. He needs a team in front of him to be playing well. Yeah. So that's what he needs. He needs his defenders to be playing well, his midfielders to be playing well, and his forwards to be playing well. He needs his full team in front of him to be playing well. When that starts happening, we'll see more of the Onana we expected.
Yeah,
sure.
I think just on United, while we're touching them, I know this is Everton topic, but another man deserves his flowers is Harry Maguire at the moment. I think a lot of United fans wanted him out, and probably rightfully so. The way he's conducted himself and performed for the last 2 months, been fantastic. He has been really, really good. He's been the player that remember his best season for United. I know a lot of people kind of reckon he never wanted to rewrite history. He never had a good time for United, but when we got to the Europa League final that year under Ollie, he was fantastic. I think it was his first season. He's been very good so far this season. So there's two guys that really turned it around, and hopefully we can build upon that now.
Yeah. Well, staying with Forest and Everton.
Sorry, Forest. Yeah.
All right. Just touching back on Forest versus Everton. It's been the last 10 games. It's been split even, 4 wins for each team, 2 draws. Forest lost last week against Brighton 3-2 at home. They did well. They were 3-1 down. They maybe could have snatched something towards the end, but Forest have been in okay form this season. They've been playing in a majority of games. They play well. They haven't been getting the results, but in the recent couple of games they've been getting some results. So it is a tough game for Everton now to kind of after that 3-0 humbling against United now to go to this Forest team. It'll be tough. But in saying that as well, Everton's away form has been much better than their home form. I think they were 6th in the away form table or something like that. I think they're the 6th best away team or something like that. Which give credit where credit is due. Everton last year were dog shit in all aspects of the Premier League, but it's going to be a tough game for them. I
think for Everton, Forest is probably a good game for them because Forest have a lot of young players in there. I think that's been probably Forest's issue. They're full of energy, but just they lack that.
He is back that final. He after being back for 2 games, he's injured again. So
massive loss. And I think Forest, with signing so many young guys, and they have quite a young team, they're a very exciting team. But they're kind of one of those that they just lack that bit of strength, I think, down the middle. That's where you see them conceding a lot of goals and things. So with Everton, to get Forest away this weekend, their away record is very good. I think it's a good game for them because Forest can be pushed over. We know we have seen it by them. They can be electrifying, but they can be pushed over. I don't think they're very strong down the middle. So I would think that if you're good looking at Everton, you have to play anyone away. Forest isn't a bad one to have to play away next weekend.
Yeah, and if you look at Forest as well, out of they've conceded 4 out of their last 5 games by 2 goals or more. So they are that their backline is there for the taking. I know they had a good win against Villa 2 or 3 games ago, but they conceded 3 against Newcastle, 3 against Brighton here now, 2 against there's another 2 or 3 against, I can't remember who they're playing. So they are there for the taking. There is goals in this game on both sides. It's just who gets more. It's just one of the old Michael Owen phrases now. Just who scores more goals is going to win the game. It's one of those.
Simple as that. Right. Predictions. Pushing.
I'm going to give it to Everton. I'm going to say 2-1.
2-1. Johnny?
3-2 Everton.
You know what? I was going to say 3-2 Everton as well.
Big goals this game.
Dirty old 0-0 and coming now. Right. So we'll move on to Newcastle versus Man United now. Big game of the weekend. Well, probably the second biggest game of the weekend. Johnny, you were saying, touching on Harry Maguire, how improved he's been. We've talked about Onana, how improved he's been as well. There's not really, apart from those two over the last couple of games, United, there's not really any standout performances by anyone else. Marcus Rashford obviously got a penalty the other day. Away. So you're hoping that maybe this will kickstart something for him?
Yeah, I think so. Even going like that, I think Bruno has been quietly going about his work for the last while without standing out too much.
Trying to behave himself like he doesn't.
Yeah, I think he has been going well, but the thing with Bruno is that he's a guy that
one got back, upset him back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But that's the last while I've been very happy. Mostly happy how he's playing. He's kind of been a solid 6 or 7 out of 10 each game. That's kind of how you could probably describe us. We've been probably solid 6 the last couple of games, just doing enough to get results. Which is, in one aspect, we're kind of okay, we need to pick it up. But the other aspect is too, we're picking up wins. We haven't clicked anything yet. We're still waiting to get guys back. So we're kind of quietly optimistic. Shaw, I think, is a massive difference coming back into this team.
Big time.
Massive difference. And he's actually comes back in shape, which is great to see, because with Shaw, by him, it's crazy for a professional footballer. I can't believe how out of shape he is half the time. I actually do not understand it.
And he looks like a monster now. His arms, his chest,
he looks
fucking
mad for it. And he was fantastic the other day. He was very good.
Unreal.
Makes a massive difference on the left-hand side. And Rashford needs him. I think him and Rashford firing together is really, really, really good. Really dangerous. So we're hoping for Rashford. Look, he's back with the missus, thank God.
I knew it was going to come up. I knew it was going to come up.
That's
Good
unreal.
riding gets set you far.
That stat is fucking sensational. That stat is unreal. But yeah, I think now it's time to string a couple of more wins and big wins now. So
yeah, I was
Champions League.
This is
and Newcastle. Newcastle's a massive one.
Yeah,
this would be a big game. Put them in their box as well.
Yeah, I think Rashford not playing in the Champions League, being having this 1 game ban, will be good for him. He'll have time to reflect. He'll have time to watch the boy. He's not traveling to Turkey, so he won't have much.
You're away tomorrow, is it? Yeah.
We're away. Yeah,
we're in Turkey. Yeah, so he can stay home. He can rest. He can train lightly. He can get the sex that he needs to get in if he needs to get that in with the misses again. Whatever he needs to get himself right, because it's a big game next Sunday. Or Saturday, sorry, Saturday. Is it not? It's not.
Yeah, it's a late game.
Saturday. Yeah,
Saturday.
It's a big game.
Saturday evening.
Yeah,
6 p.m. on a Saturday.
But yeah, look, he needs to rest up. I think again, as Johnny said, having Shaw beside him is key. They're massive for him.
And on the other side of that, like speaking of players coming back, Newcastle have got Alexander Isak back. Huge boost for them because they were lacking with Callum Wilson out injured as well. They were lacking that, that person up front. They had lost 2 games in the league before this. The shitty teams that they should be beating. Well, obviously last weekend they beat Chelsea 4-1 with Isak coming back.
Yeah.
And we seen them today against with PSG. Got a good point. The penalty that conceded in the 97th minute. A bit harsh maybe, but fuck them. I don't care about Newcastle anymore. But Newcastle have lost the last 2 Premier League games, so they kind of maybe need a bit of a win as well. It's not as easy of a game as people think it will be.
But they're off the back of a 4-1 win against Chelsea, a fairly dominant display.
And they play well the big games. They turn up for big games.
Yeah, they do exactly, and they're at home, and since it's. I think Newcastle. Sorry, they have it in them to destroy any team. Let's be very real. They do have a fair few amount of injuries still. I know Isak is back, and that's a huge plus for them. But they have kept
a bit makeshift as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Livermento's been playing well since he's been in there. You know what I mean? Playing left back. Trippier but Trippier hasn't been. He's doing okay, but he hasn't nothing more than okay. Lascelles has been a fucking rock for them since he's come in instead of Botman.
But I still think he is a bit like Lascelles. He can be a bit hit or miss.
Definitely. He's got that in him. He's got a mistake in him.
Yeah, he is. So we'll see. Look, it's a big game. There's goals in this game for sure. There's goals in this game.
I'd be very interested to see if Manu starts again, because I think after that performance and after
I think it's fair. Yeah,
we shouldn't look too much into pre-season, but he played every game in pre-season.
He did
until he got the injury. I think
played well too. He was the best player on the pitch against Real Madrid.
100%. Yeah, I know it's only for a few minutes, but and I know it's pre-season, but at the weekend he was just a class above. Sometimes you watch a kid, and you're thinking, "Fucking it," but he played like, and it's not to compare him and Bellingham. They talk Bellingham's like a 30-year-old footballer, the way he plays. Doesn't play like a kid. Manu played like a 27-year-old the other day. He just looked class on the ball.
Comfortable, yeah. So
comfortable. So it'll be interesting to see. I would imagine he'll start. Especially Casemiro's back. I could see them 2 starting in the middle for us. Next Saturday evening, sorry.
Yeah, he'll need to start against Galatasaray though tomorrow. He'll need to start that game.
Kobe will.
Hopefully he comes out of that fairly unscathed. But look, it's going to be a good game this weekend. That's going to be a cracking game.
Massive. It's a huge game.
Yeah. Predictions there, Johnny.
2-0 United. Man United. United.
Was she? I remember Granny punched me once because I said when I referred to they were playing Newcastle once, and I referred to Man United as United, and she hit me and said it has to be Manchester United.
All right, well, Manchester United anymore. So
it's a bit of family trivia there now.
United.
I'm gonna go. I am actually gonna go for. I'm gonna go for 2-2 draw.
2-2. I was gonna go 2-2 as well. Yeah. I think it probably could go either way. I think.
United owed them something though, because they bet them in the United owed them a good fucking dig, and Newcastle need to be put in their place too.
2 games Newcastle have won. It's been an aggregate score of 5-0. So I think if Newcastle want to come out strong, they'll come out all one station. If United
straight away,
15, 20 goals. If United can just get not conceding the first 15, 20 minutes, and then just like slowly go into the game, I think Newcastle would probably be in trouble, but they just have to get through those initial periods and not concede early.
Yeah, because St. James Park will be electric. That's the one thing about them. They're electric at home.
Yeah.
So if we can get a goal early,
yes.
we feel good at St. Park this weekend. Get a goal early changes everything.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, absolutely. And it's exactly as Johnny says. If we get an early goal, if United get an early goal, it completely changes the scape of the game, or scope of the game rather, big time. But in saying that too, like I'm Anthony Gordon, just going to touch on him. He's been playing well. He's had a goal contribution in every home game this season. So whoever's playing, I think Wan-Bissaka needs to start that game.
Yeah,
has to start that game against him. Dalot just he will not be able to contain Gordon.
Yeah, that was shocking lately.
Yeah.
See, every time you can see the goal, the always come up in the group chat. Dalot, this fucking Dalot could.
Yeah, but he has been a fault. Like he's been out of position. He's been caught out too many times. Fucking the way we're passing. But look, Wan-Bissaka, Shaw, Maguire's been playing well.
Who do you put beside him?
Right.
Look, we'll figure it out. It's going to be a good game, though. It's going to be cracking.
Right.
Yeah.
Moving on there. So, Stamford Bridge could be another goal fest here. Chelsea versus Brighton. Both teams leaking goals, really.
Brighton have conceded in every game this season, haven't they?
Yeah, they've scored and conceded in every game so far this season, which is pretty bad. And Chelsea have they're on the back of a 4-1 loss and a 4-4 draw against City, so I conceded 8 goals in 2 games. Brentford will probably be licking their lips at this game. If Brentford can frustrate Chelsea, Brighton, sorry. If Brighton could frustrate Chelsea defensively, which they can do, and not shoot themselves in the foot like they've been doing non-stop for I don't know how many games in a row now. They've just every time, they're dominant possession, and they just this whole thing of playing out from the back, and they concede goals, blah blah blah. If they can just get that out of their system, not make these mistakes, then I think they'll probably comfortably beat Chelsea. I could probably put 3 past them, maybe more. But yeah, Brighton on the back of a win against Nottingham Forest, which, like we said, Forest is a tough ground to go to. And Oisin, we touched on, Chelsea's 4-1 loss against Newcastle there. They were just so poor. So bad. Like, in fairness, the first half they were maybe okay, but then, second half they just...
completely capitulated.
Capitulated.
Yeah. I think...
Reece James totally...
I was just going to say, Reece James, like, completely, like...
one of the most overrated players. Like, there's always, like, this big debate, him and Trent, and, like, they're both shite.
Yeah.
You can put him in a good cross, fair enough.
Yeah, they've had a good 6 months between the two of them.
Look, I think what James did was fucking stupid. Like, such a stupid attempt to tackle. He knows not to be at that. I think
he has more red cards than wins in 2023. Would you believe?
But he never plays. Like, between injuries and red cards, it's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? Never played.
Never
plays. I'm still thinking last. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
I think, and he got captain as well. That blew my mind as well.
Captain too,
I think, do you know what was telling for me about Chelsea, especially in their defence, was the way they conceded the 2 goals in the space of 2 minutes. The Lascelles header, the way that when that cross came in, that he was Gordon's cross came in, that a fullback was able to look like the movement of a seasoned striker, to lean off the back and get that header in for free, that not one Chelsea player thought to look at him and mark this man. And then straight after that, then to give away the ball, like Thiago Silva, 39 years of age, he should have the absolute cop on, know how to, like, to try and touch the ball and then just to kick it forward into Joe Linton's path. And on top of that, then Sanchez's dive, like, it was obvious. Like, I watched so many clips of the shot. It was obvious he was shooting to the left. Yeah. And Sanchez just fucking just fell to his left, right? Joe Linton's right, his left. But like, Sanchez just fell. Like, he didn't even go for him. Just have the fucking the arm stretched out, the legs out wide, the De Gea, or whoever the way you want to phrase it, he just fell to the floor. I was fucking so stupid, man. But I think Brighton as well, like the Brighton, like they will Chelsea will score, like Sterling probably a goal because he's as much pace to get past that Brighton defense. They're not pacey, this defense, this Brighton defense. Lewis Dunk now being out because he was like I think he called the referee a knobhead, I think, wasn't
I've
it?
seen that, yeah.
That was all he says, you're a knobhead.
Since 2008, so I think someone was
it?
Off
Yeah,
or
so
saying some shit.
yeah, so I think but not that he was fast, but he's a leader. He's a commanding leader at the back. So I do think there's definitely going to be goals in it. There's no denying about that. I just think Chelsea. Who is Chelsea at home or is Brighton at home? I think Chelsea's at home.
Yeah,
they might They might have some a bit more for Brighton, but I don't think much.
They have shown though against City, and Brighton do play a similar kind of way. How they were able to turn over City, get in behind them fairly, very quick. So I do.
That's the pace I'm talking about, yeah. The pace.
Yes, I completely agree. Yeah, definitely.
Me and Dan used to
head there. Sorry, go on.
Well, I was saying we spoke about this a few months ago. Actually, Johnny, you were on the podcast. You were speaking about, and they're still doing it. Brighton are doing this thing where their defenders are holding onto the ball, waiting till the last minute for the attacker to come and close them down before they pass away. It's such a dangerous game.
So I know.
It's such a dangerous game.
Keep getting caught out.
They get caught like a lot of the time, like more so than they should. Like they did a lot last year and it worked perfectly, but it's so obvious now. Teams know that's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's what
you know what I mean. Th're closing down the negative space to either side of the defender to do that. So yeah,
and that's it. And we see it happen all the time.
Yeah. So look, go on, Dan. I know what we said.
I was going to say, like the head-to-head last 7 games been pretty balanced. So each team has won 2 games each, and there's been 3 draws. So it's been pretty balanced. I did want to touch on though. Brighton have got 2 red cards in back-to-back games. Like they're disciplined this year.
Yeah,
pretty
brutal.
I know, like all these like new little rules and stuff. Like there has been such a huge increase in red cards in general in the Premier League, but I think Brighton, just their discipline has been really bad. It's been really, really bad.
Well, they got 5 yellow cards, including the yellow card that Dunk got, and 1 red card in that last game. They got 2 yellows, I think, for at least 1 anyway for time wasting. And there was a lot of that this season too. I think that they were one of the highest. I think I only seen it there after the game because I think it was definitely 2 players that got a yellow card for time wasting. That they're one of the highest teams to get yellow carded for their players time wasting.
Yeah.
So so it's I agree with you. They're very disciplined.
Yeah, 5, 6 yellow cards. Too many yellows to get.
Put the house on a red card here.
Yeah, to be and a team that's winning as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Chelsea discipline is cat as well, so I'd say put the house on a couple of red cards.
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely.
All right, so predictions for Chelsea versus Brighton. Oisín.
I'm gonna say 2-2 again.
Johnny.
3-3.
3-3. Yeah, I think I think Brighton will win this game. I think probably be 3-1, 3-2, or I'll 3-1, 3-1 Brighton.
Just one last sorry before I finish this. A bad loss for Chelsea this weekend. Do you look at Poch has been in trouble?
No, I don't think so.
They can't afford to fire him.
Yeah, but I think, like, in fairness to him, he has in some games he's just not getting the consistency out of some players. But in some games they have played very, very well, and they got a couple of good results.
He's a lot of injuries still to deal with too.
I think Spurs handed them a result, but against City there, especially against Arsenal, they were really good. Against City, they were really good. So like, you give the man time. Like, I don't think.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree.
A team like Chelsea, they need, like, you touched, Johnny. You always said about they have this like 18-month
lifespan.
Yeah, and then it goes from there. Like, you need to get a manager in there for 2-3 seasons.
3 years.
Build something. Yeah, definitely.
Like, if this fucking goofy fucker Bowley is gonna start, he's gonna keep launching in money, then you need to settle down. Poch needs to be like, these are players I need. I don't want random South American fucking 19-year-olds. I don't want them. Like, give me sturdy, good players, and let them build something.
Actually,
but Poch has shown he can do that as well.
Yeah, I like Poch, so I hope I don't like Chelsea, but I like Poch.
Yeah, I think. I agree with you. Yeah, I know. I know that is very weird for an Arsenal fan. I think, but he's a lot of injuries to deal with too. One of his key signings in Kunku was still missing. Fofana is like Lavia too. Lavia was a big money signing. He was meant to be a linchpin in that, but I suppose before they got Caicedo, but he's dealing with a lot of injuries too, you know.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll leave it there for that. So moving on to Anfield, Liverpool at home to Fulham. Liverpool ended Man City's winning run of 19 games at home. Obviously, they got the draw, which is a good game. I seen most of the highlights, but I didn't see the full game. But City, like in the last, I know we're talking about Liverpool, but I just want to touch on Man City real quick. But they haven't been fantastic this season. We always talk about City doing, they're playing pretty average football. They're not as as decisive and all gung ho as they usually are. Like, teams are able to get at them now, and I feel like their defensive line especially, they're kind of, Pep has this idea of bringing in centre backs and playing them wide, Vardiol, Nathan Ake as well.
Midfield.
Yeah, and it's putting them in midfield. I think I don't know. I think that might be their downfall after, when the good teams start coming to the Etihad and when they start going away. I think a lot of big teams will be looking at them, being look, this is how you get at them, and this is what you can do about it. I think Liverpool played very, very well in the transition game, like Chelsea did. They got out quickly, they created opportunities, and Liverpool, in fairness, they've been playing very, very well. They've only one loss in Premier League, and you can say it shouldn't have counted. Obviously, it was against Spurs. The whole VAR debacle. But yeah, Liverpool are quietly just keeping pace with everyone else and kind of going about their business. Johnny, you can talk about Liverpool now.
Liverpool, you take the result is a very good point away from home, massively, and we say coming into this game it's going to be a serious game of ball, and it always tends to be City controlling it and Liverpool on the transition, because Liverpool are a serious transition team.
Yeah, so fast.
Unbelievable at it. And they are a team that are just picking up and just going about their business, nothing too crazy, just going about it. And they have a lot of guys out of form. They only have the same couple pulling them through.
Yeah, I was going to say about McAllister, man. He's just getting found out week after week.
But
crazy.
He's got no one in beside him. But it does look a 40 million. You know how we were all saying, geez, how to get him for 40 million? He looks a 40 million pound player.
Exactly, 40 million nowadays, you're not really getting the quality. You need to be paying double that, 60.
Brighton have sold very well this summer.
Yeah, can't say, yeah.
But with Liverpool, and look at if they go in and get a proper midfielder in January, you get at least one of the other attackers really firing, they're going to be in there. Van Dijk looks to be playing good ball again. So they're never far off. This team is never far off.
I think on that though, Gravenberch being injured is a bit of a loss, because in the first few games he was playing, he looked really well. He was that kind of he was that pivot that I think McAllister needed, and Szoboszlai, that number 6 that let the two boys be a number 8 in their own sense.
Yes, yeah.
But I agree with Johnny. I think McAllister, Aaron said it in fairness. Now he did say it there. He is he's complete. He'll be found out this season, and he fucking has been. Yeah, he's been he's been so fortunate. He was very fortunate to get away without getting a card in that game too, because I was seeing the extended highlights. He looked like he was throwing a few nasty little high boots, or some needless challenges. But I have to say, I saw this ridiculous. It's 50 minutes of the game for a game that was only 1-1. Liverpool looked good, and their passage of play, the progressive football, they're attacking on the wings, defense was really good. Matip looked like he had a good game too. And then City in the contract, apart from Doku, it didn't look overly fantastic. Jeremy Doku, that is some boy, 60 million. He is unbelievable. But he actually looks like a player that deserves to be in a more impressive looking team in terms of football style, because he's
keeping out 100 million player Jack Grealish.
Yeah, and deservedly so, because Jack Grealish is good, but he's I think Doku's on a way higher level than Grealish. Big time.
Yeah, definitely.
Grealish kind of plays more so as a number 10 than he does as a winger. I don't never ever considered Jack Grealish a winger, playing
definitely
left wing, and the way Pep has him, he's just he's hugging the touch, he's on the touchline most of the game, and he obviously he likes to come inside, but any defender can just be just he doesn't have the the most pace in the league at all, So all the defenders know
roles,
he wants to put inside. He wants to come inside, and I think just Doku just comes in and he's so fast, he's so skillful.
Brilliant.
And it's just that change that Pep, I suppose, has found a way to. I don't massively rate Grealish. I think Grealish is massively overrated. Not because he plays for City. I don't think he's ever been the player people thought he was.
Definitely.
But the difference you have between Grealish and Doku as a defensive team,
That's
how do you defend against them? Like, you have such a massive different. They're completely different players, especially on the same side. So, but like we say with City, fuckers, like you said, they just haven't got going yet. Liverpool can beat them.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you know what I mean?
But I have to say as well, we're on about Liverpool, and look, they look good, and I would nearly, as much as I don't want to like watching either of the pricks, I would prefer to watch Liverpool more so, their style of play more so than City. But if Salah leaves in the summer,
they're screwed.
I don't give a fuck. And it says Darwin Núñez is not the answer. Jota is a good player, but he ain't the answer. He ain't like Diaz is good, but he's forever in and out. And he was like that last year too, where he got a big injury. But if they lose Salah, that forward line, they're going to have to spend, like, they're going to have to get 2 or 3 players in. I don't care what anyone says. Núñez is a good player, but that's all he is. If he doesn't, like, he's never going to be there. He's never going to be their prolific number 9. There's no way in hell.
He could have at least 15 goals now in the Premier League if he put half the chances away. Like,
but if they take, and even at that, like, okay, Darwin Núñez has 9 assists. I think all of them are to Salah. That's fair enough. But Salah, if they lose Salah, like, who do they get? Because their forward line, it'll completely change Liverpool. Completely change their forward. We will not be looking at this Liverpool team next year. This like their 1 loss in 12 games or whatever it is. When they lose Salah, because that will happen this summer. That didn't happen the summer gone by. It'll definitely happen this summer.
He'll be on to the African Cup of Nations, won't he?
In January,
he will be. So we'll see how good Liverpool like. But they're going to need to get 150 for Salah and spend on two big players.
And I just want to quickly mention Trent. Everyone's been up his hole this weekend. For Man City's goal, the defender Nathan Ake fucking just made a show of him, like.
Well, it's the classic thing, isn't it?
We've always said how bad he is at defending, but like
he's shocking.
He scores or he assists, and then he's like, people are like, "Oh, he's so good." Blah blah blah. I'm like, he's shite. He's shite.
He's poor.
He's so bad.
Like I saw a video. I saw a video clip the day after. Right, it was a 2.5 minute clip of his highlights of the game, and the goal was obviously the main centre point. But 30 seconds was wasted on replaying that. But there was 3 clips that show him defending against Doku. And this is praising him, right? This is a Liverpool pan, and all it did was show Trent foul him once, let Doku get past him on the inside line, and then the other time was like he shielded off Doku, and that were the 3 highlights of defending against Doku. And I was like technically he's an unbelievably technically gifted player. His crossing ability is definitely up there with the likes of Kevin De Bruyne. His passing, I really think that. Is brilliant. His set piece play is brilliant too. You can't deny that. But he's a right back that can't defend, and at the end of the day, that's what it is.
100%. Like if you put him beside all the right backs in the league,
I'd sooner put him right wing. If Salah goes, I'd say put him right wing.
Right back. I'd have a good solid right back that doesn't score or assist, but doesn't
100%. 100%. He gets away with it.
Yeah, he does get away with it. Yeah.
All right, touching on Fulham real quick. Yeah, we talked about the VAR decisions they got against Wolves. Their away form isn't fantastic. We touched on them a couple of times. I don't like talking about Fulham because I don't really have anything to say good or bad about them. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of these teams where, like, Crystal Palace is the same team. I don't really... You don't
care for them. There's nothing about them.
Like, there's shy teams, and then there's like the good teams, and then there's these mid-table teams that never do anything of note. Like, they never go on cup runs, they never do well in the league. I think it's going to be another tough game for Fulham. I think Marco Silva is doing what he can, but they just don't have the players to for him to make any sort of a major impact.
Bet you that man's regretting not going to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, that 40 million or whatever is like,
40 million a year, like what? Like his mother must, or not his mother, his mother as well. His partner must beat the shit out of him every night.
What I mean? Like,
I
don't know.
And even at that, you say for working in England, would probably get him a better job. Now if he's working for Fulham, and it's fucking offense or no offense to Fulham, but like that's not going to get you a big job.
Definitely not. Like, especially if you're
maybe a Spurs job, but
Yeah,
not a
mid.
big one.
Yeah, like there'll be a sideways move. There won't be like a high move for him. There'll be a sideways.
And that's they're just what's the word like this.
I think everyone was going on by how they did last season. They've showed none of that this season. Not one.
No, and of course, Mitch up front's a massive loss.
Yeah.
And they're unlucky to think that they don't have the money to really invest. They need 78 million fired into that team to make any real difference for them.
Yeah.
And we've all established that out of sheer dumb luck they got past Wolves the last day. Like the first penalty, the first goal was good goal, but they should have had a player sent off and shouldn't have had one of their penalties.
Yeah.
Maybe an argument for a second. I don't agree. I think it was a penalty, but other people may say otherwise. But they're not showing it. Like I think Liverpool absolutely annihilate them this weekend.
100%, yeah.
Right. Predictions. So predictions, you can go at that with predictions.
I know 4-0 Liverpool. And I hate to say it, but I think it's gonna be, I think they're gonna hammer them.
Yeah, 3-0 Liverpool.
I'm gonna go 4-0. I'm gonna go 4-0 Liverpool as well. I think,
1-0 Fulham incoming.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But no, it's not happening.
All right, moving on quickly then to Bournemouth versus Aston Villa. Aston Villa just one loss in the last 10 games coming against Nottingham Forest recently. Everyone, rightly so, is just praising Unai Emery, the work he's done. Just made Aston Villa into just an incredible team that works hard, plays good football, and they're getting the results like we're seeing against Spurs. They went a goal down and, didn't panic, didn't do anything, just kept playing their game and got the rewards. And yeah, all credit to Emery. Like I hope they do well in the Conference League. I hope they can go on and win it because I do like Aston Villa. People are always like, oh, he didn't do too well at Arsenal, blah, 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 but he didn't have the players to do it, and
they have the time.
Whatever, that's fair. He didn't have the time either. But look, he's doing like Aston Villa are such like players like John McGinn, who's I never rated him. Thought he was a fucking championship player. Now he's playing like form of his life. He's playing such good football. Tielemans, he seems to got the best out of Tielemans again.
Because we were only saying at the start of the year, what was the point to sign him? He's not playing.
Yeah.
And now he's playing when he comes on. He's brilliant.
He's unreal. Like they bought in well. Like Diaby has been fantastic for them.
Pau Torres is doing well.
Yeah, Pau Torres is another one. I think they do need more defensive options though. I think that's maybe where they're lacking. Obviously, Mings is gone. He's out for a couple more months anyways. But I think that's maybe there's a big drop off in the defense. And like obviously Martinez has kind of been making a few mistakes of late, and he's been kind of getting away with it. But
he's a total wanker as well.
Yeah, total prick. I hate that cunt.
He's probably the biggest prick in the league, I'd say.
I think he is 100%. 100%.
Yeah, he really does look out of sorts in that team. Because I agree with you, Dan. I think even though you love Ollie Watkins more than me, but I think Villa are a very likable team.
Yeah, they are.
I really do. Yeah, I think they are. Like John McGinn, as you said, is a player that I used to hate, but I think he's brilliant. Matty Cash is playing well lately too, although he's playing a right midfielder. Last day they played them, even though it took the piss out Burnley during the last day. The formation, the starting formation was a traditional 4-4-2, but then it looked like it went from a 3-3-2-1 or whatever way it is, or something like that. 3 at the back with Matty Cash and McGinn as the kind of wing backs, but Boubacar Kamara has been playing well. Absolutely. He wasn't seeing much to start the season, so he's been coming in. Diaz has been playing really good, or Douglas Luiz rather.
Luiz, I think Arsenal now.
I think City as well, so they need to keep him.
70-80 million for him.
Yeah, because you linked to him last January too, weren't you? That's a long time you've been linked to him. Great footballer, great player.
Yeah, they need to keep him for just at least the end of the season for them to get anything.
Touching on Bournemouth real quick now, back-to-back wins for them. They've jumped up the table now, 7 points ahead of relegation. Going to be a tough game for them, but at the Vitality, they can maybe. We know that Aston Villa's away form doesn't sometimes match the intensity of their home form. They can slip up against the smaller teams sometimes, so it could be a tricky game for Villa here.
Will I take
Definitely.
that? Sorry, go.
Villa away from home have been up and down kind of, and Bournemouth is the run of form they're on. You wouldn't know what you're going to get out of them on any day. That's the problem with them. You have no idea what sort of Bournemouth's going to turn up. The only way I really see Bournemouth winning this game, Villa come in and don't give them the flowers and just say, right, we're going to go in and walk them over. I don't really. Yeah, that's the only really way I see Bournemouth winning. I think Bournemouth were delighted. They're one of those teams that were celebrating all day long for Everton's 10-point deduction, because we've said that maybe Everton could stay up. It's them or Everton, and they're just got a big advantage in that race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
I think they're off the back prior to the game against Sheffield United. They're off the back of a 2-0 win at home against Newcastle, and look, it's a good result no matter how you look at it. But a win against Sheffield United, like, it was a good win.
Yeah.
But I certainly wouldn't set that as a cornerstone to say that there's potential to beat Aston Villa. Like, no way. Villa are but like above anything, Villa are like they're big boys. It's a big deal apart from obviously John McGinn, but there are a lot of big players out there. Like Watkins is a big player, Douglas Luiz is a big boy, Kamara's a big boy, Pansa and Pau Torres, they're big lads. So I think they'll bully Bournemouth. Look, Bournemouth, you have to give them their dues. They had good 2 games, the last 2 games from good win. They needed it. They needed the last 2 wins. They needed one at least last 2 wins. So the fact they got 2. But I don't think I just don't see them past Villa. No, I know Villa are away haven't been great, but Villa are just too strong for
too much.
For sure, yeah.
Right, so predictions for the Bournemouth versus Aston Villa then. Johnny, start with you.
Go 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw?
Yeah.
Okay, Oisin?
I'm going to say 3-0 Villa.
Okay, yeah, I think Bournemouth would probably score, but I think, 3-1 Villa, I'm going to say. I think, Villa will have too much. They're just in too good of a form right now to lose this game. And, Bournemouth can be there pretty shite most of the time. So I expect them to go along with that. Right, moving on then. West Ham versus Crystal Palace. I do not have very high hopes for this game now, to be honest with you. I know I've said before about 0-0 and it was 3-2, but like Palace against West Ham last year won home and away. I think Palace's form this year has been either like it's weird because they've been so bad a lot of times. They've just been having scoring goals, but now with Eze and Elise back, I know Elise probably isn't 100% yet. Maybe Eze isn't even 100%. He's probably 75-80%. They can cause trouble for West Ham. I think West Ham at home probably be too much for Palace.
I think, and Palace, of course, they haven't won, apart from the one away game they've won this season, which was against United. They haven't come close. You might have an argument against Luton the last day, but Luton took the lead. So I agree with you. I think Palace have a lot to show for themselves, particularly off the back against Luton. That's a poor result, no matter whoever against Luton, and no matter what you say, who you are on the table, losing against Luton is going to look bad. So they're going to want to have their guns up. But West Ham, again, they're another team quietly getting about their business. Burnley took the lead against West Ham the last day, and West Ham did come out and got nicked at the end. But like, that's the team they are. They've got some good players. Mikel Antonio being out is a godsend for them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Quickly touch on Mohamed Kudus. He's a great player, but I think his temperament is kind of maybe letting him down sometimes. Like, he's getting a lot of yellow cards for arguing.
Well,
they'll add up and he gets suspended. And I just think a player like that, especially coming into a new league, kind of needs to cut that out.
Well, they did say that at the start. I don't know who it was. It might have been Jamie Carragher. No, it wasn't Jamie Carragher. It was someone shy. Said that he had a good record in Holland for his scoring, but he had a very poor disciplinary record. Even under Ten Hag, when he first went to Ajax, he was quite poor, and it was meant to be fairly up and down last year too. He got quite a lot of yellows, or he conceded quite a lot of fouls at least. But it comes with style. Like, he's in the league, he's probably getting pulled around the place as well off the ball, and he's like, he doesn't have the temperament to deal with that. We don't know, but he's a fabulous player. He's a brilliant player. So I think you're right. He just needs to calm the head.
He's great.
He's what?
I was surprised he went to West Ham.
I think everyone
was. Great, wasn't it?
Everyone
was linked everywhere all summer.
Everywhere.
They pulled the trigger.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Johnny, anything to touch on Crystal Palace? Obviously they lost against Luton and
Crystal Palace, I think, and I put Fulham here as well. They're two teams that are probably suffering that the bottom of the league is so shit. If the bottom of the league was any better, they would have to play better
big trouble.
They're going to stay up.
Yeah.
But if they were any better at the bottom of the league, Jesus, they'd be in big trouble.
Yeah,
the fact the bottom of the league is so dog fucking shit.
Yeah.
That they're like, we're not going to go down.
Yeah, exactly. They're
what
good
do you
enough.
fight
They're
for?
like just about like mediocre-ish, and then yeah.
So there's nothing really under them now. They might get dragged. Those like famous last words. They get dragged into a fight.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they need. I don't know, because I say it's so boring being their fan right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess we'll move on. Particularly, I don't like kind of
there's quickly through that one.
quite a lot recently. And,
That was the same about them.
yeah, I don't really want to, like West Ham.
Yeah.
Like, we'll move on predictions because that's just a game that I don't really have high hopes for.
West Ham 2-0.
Johnny.
2-1 West Ham.
I'm gonna say West Ham 1-0. Yeah, I don't think it'll be a fantastic game.
Is Bowen back for that game? I think he is done.
I think I see somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I think he's out.
Oh, is he out? I'll take a 2-0.
Did he play at the weekend?
No, he was out in the weekend.
I don't know. 100%. I don't know. Right then, last game of the game week. Good game in common. Man City versus Spurs. We talked about. Well, we actually haven't talked about it, but I mentioned it beforehand about this Spurs team getting away with a lot of results, and now players are gone and they're getting found out. I think what was it? They're only the fourth team in Premier League history to lose 3 games in a row that they've taken the lead in.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's a great stat.
Yeah,
that's a great one.
yeah.
That's a good one to keep.
Stat for there now. But yeah, but in saying that now, Spurs have won the last 4 out of the last 5 games against Man City.
This would be great to see.
So I don't know. If Spurs had their full strength team, I'd say maybe they could put it up to them, but I just don't think the way the Spurs are gone the last 3 games, just how they like I said, like they took the lead. They start well. They do start well, even without Maddison and the defensive lads. Like they start very well, and then they don't score enough. Maybe they waste a lot of chances, and then they just fucking.
It's the way they play.
They end up losing games.
It's the way they play. They just kind of tend to gas out and get caught.
Yeah.
We all said it.
Give like 50 minutes, and then it's kind of after that they start to concede.
Yeah, because we said about Ange, like right, he's had a great run of it. We'll find out all about him when they start going wrong for him. 3 in the bounce now they've been hit with. 4 in the bounce would be such a massive kick. Like
is Romero back for that game? Did he get 2 or 3 game banned? Because he's definitely got 2.
3 games.
Did he get 3 games?
Straight red, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was straight red, but that doesn't. That's within reason of it could be a 2 or 3. Oh, I was only using the excuse to say like if they had 1 out of their 2 starting centre backs, and especially one of the tougher boys against Haaland, may give him a chance. But also he's the most likely one to get sent off again that game for having a fight with Haaland. So I think I don't see. Yeah, look. You are right for what you're saying, absolutely true. But the losses that they've suffered are, they're immeasurable.
It's just a matter of them, just kind of. It seems like not that they give up, but it's just like they just fall away.
I think what they're doing is, what's killing them is well, they're definitely they're keeping the tactic of the high line. So I was listening to an argument about it, and I agree with the person that said it. Like, why change the tactic to a formation just because you're missing some key players? Like, they have to keep going with that formation. That's what they're doing in training. So like if you out of the 4 or 5 players are missing, if one of those players are missing and you're replacing, you're still going to have to play the same style. So they are still going to have to play that high line, which I think is very risky against City. But they're going to play a high line. They're going to play a lot of wing play. Brennan Johnson and Kulusevski and Son, they need to have a big game between the 3.
Son especially. He's massively bad lately.
Yeah, they need to have a big game. Like, if anything, and they're missing. They got Bentancur back, and now he's gone again. So they have Bissouma back. I think Sarah's back as well, is he? But their forward line needs to have a good game. They need to keep on going. The opportunities they missed against Villa, they cannot miss those opportunities against City. Otherwise, City will tear them apart. So I don't see past the City win. Ireland not in this Curtis. I think the likes of James Maddison and Van der Ven is a massive loss for them. But for Tottenham to get anything out of this game, even if they get 2 shots off the whole game, they need to make sure those 2 shots count.
They will get chances, though. That's the thing.
They will.
They do, like, all their dominance. They do allow teams to, they kind of lose concentration or something. But I don't know.
It's then holding them off then, because when City get into that rush, that like it's manic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like we touched on City just not performing as well as they can, and they're still point behind Arsenal, who are top of the league. They've always been like that. They take a while to get going, and now with Kevin De Bruyne coming back in probably December, or no, probably in January. I think he's coming back. But then you'd have to either Alvarez or Foden probably have to drop off.
He'll probably drop Foden. He'll drop Foden.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he'll drop Alvarez. Foden's been playing well. I think Foden's been playing well lately, and he got two assists in a goal tonight. Foden he's found his form again.
You think you've had him up front anyways. You don't really need I know.
Alvarez,
Alvarez,
is that number 10, but I think you just don't.
And you have to remember as well, Alvarez was never 10. He was only put in that position because of Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah. So I think I'll move on to the predictions. I want to start. I think I would love to see Spurs get battered. I would love to see it. But I'd also at the same time like to see City drop points, because
100%.
We need to get as far away from them as possible before De Bruyne comes back. But I'm gonna say 3-1 City win. Johnny?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. 3-1 City.
I was gonna say the same.
Yeah, 3-1 all around. I hope so. I kind of, not that I knew, it is unfortunate Spurs have good players.
Their injuries. It's a pity.
It is unfortunate, but even when they weren't playing fantastic, and I just knew this kind of collapse coming, and I'm all about it. I love it. Love to see it.
Look, at the same time though, with injuries, and we talk about injuries. Ten Hag was being sacked 3 weeks ago, and he had more injuries than anyone else in the league. So I don't want to hear anyone else talking about injuries.
It's very true. It's very true. There is injuries across the whole. Chelsea, they have a serious amount of injuries too as well. There's injuries all across the board. I think the only thing we do with Tottenham is you have to say it's the big come down of losing Harry Kane, getting James Maddison, getting Van der Ven, getting Vicario. They were, new manager bounce as well, I suppose you want to say. It's kind of one of those things where you feel for a team like that are clearly in a new transgression of, rebuilt, but they've lost 3 or 4 key players that they don't have. They can't replace because they haven't got anyone to replace it.
Someone said the other day I was listening to, and I found it funny because it's probably similar. It made it sound like, remember when Ollie first took over United and went on that mad run, and then once it fell apart. It fell apart. It's like Ange.
The wheels came on.
Ange was like Ollie is this happy guy coming in, not to compare maybe their records or anything, but just came in, and now that's gone wrong. It's like, holy fuck, how do we stop this?
And I was want to say as well, Ange was one of the cunts coming out after Arsenal lost, and after Arsenal lost to Newcastle, and Arteta had his little meltdown. He was like, I was raised on respect and all this kind of stuff. He's getting at referees now, and he's just total hypocrite in what he's doing. He's shouting.
Oh yeah, agree.
Is he? I haven't seen.
He was like, fucking hell. He was so loud shouting against
great impression.
Great Ange impression. Or something like that.
Didn't know we had Ange in the podcast there.
Well, yeah,
I didn't know that.
I see the video.
I didn't see this. Yeah, do send me the video. Yeah, put it in the short.
He has been, he's been quietly criticizing referees and VAR and stuff, and no one's making a deal out of it because everyone is up his arse.
But he's nicer hair than Arteta though.
He does all day.
Barely has any hair. What are you talking about?
Don't be jealous of you.
Don't start me on hair.
That's the way my hair would be if I let it grow. Just let you know.
It's like 4 strands pulled across.
Yeah.
Homer Simpson job, baby.
Right, gentlemen, we're going to leave it there for this week's episode of the Horny Football Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me here. To all the viewers, let us know down in the comments your thoughts and predictions for Match Week 14. Join us next week where we'll have all the reactions from Match Week 14, and we look forward to Match Week 15 of the Premier League. Don't forget, stay horny.